Hello folks, this is me again, your boy Skinny Penis. Just joking. I'm coming with you with very fresh and new thing in World of Warships, the return of RTS Carriers 2.0. Essentially meaning the new introduction of USS SAS, or United States, or whatever you want to call it. The new broken ship in World of Warships, 250k average damage and above, with pretty much alpha strike only, so essentially unhealable damage. It's pretty much reintroducing RTS carriers in terms of like little funny tech squadrons that fly around the map way quicker than RTS CVs ever did and can just strike immediately. So what we're going to do here is, since I have so much footage of it, but I'm too dumb to actually cut it myself, I'm just going to quickly fast forward in 3 of the USS games. It might be a very long video. We're going to see a video, or like the first replay is going to be a game where I pretty much only hump DDs and cruisers the entire time. So as you can see here, this is really fun for this Hayada, and he's having a lot of fun, 11k. And that is not even my main armament. Essentially, your rockets and your bombs are your secondary armament. So what I'm going to do here is, at some point I'm just going to fast forward most of it. This game is going to be a 4.5k base game, 300k. The next game I will show is a 414k game. And the last game that I will show is a 425k game, I think. I have countless other 300k, 370, 380, 350k games. My average on the ship is nearly 260k. Ship is completely overtuned and broken, and you will see in a second why exactly that is. The strike capability is just off the charts. I have no clue how they managed to, or like why they brought this shit live. Like no reason for it, other than griefing the player base, in my opinion. So essentially we're waiting here for tech squads. We're going to fast forward it a bit, so we don't have to wait through it a lot. Here we take off. So what exactly is the strength of USS? You pretty much do your whole damage through the tech torpedoes and tech rockets. The rockets are so fast and are pretty much a secure insta-fire with on average 10k damage wherever you want on the map. And afterwards you can just start your torpedoes, and the torpedoes have, or the torpedo plane attack has an alpha of nearly 50k, while only reloading for around 2 minutes. And then you have to keep in mind that you stack, or you can put the module on the base reload, and then you can proc Halsey with them, which means Halsey just reduces it for another 20%, which means at some point in the game you can pretty much just cycle your tech squadrons if the enemy is like at 20 km range. By the time you, like, when the bombers are ready, the tech bombers, you use them, then your rockets or torps are ready again, and then you can use the other thing that you didn't use yet. So essentially, the planes are also so fast that they ignore most AA. I picked the Torpedo Squadron HP perk module, which also allows me to do more 3-plane attacks, because the tech squadrons do have very little HP, which internally just means that most of the time you're going to lose about 1 plane when attacking AA ships, especially ships with long range AA or good AA. But if you like go late game or something, that doesn't happen. So here we are going to soon see one of the most retarded things. World of Warships. Well, here I just tried to decap the Annapolis, by the way. The game is... I'm going to slow down a bit. The game is essentially only 2 battleships, 3 DDs, and 6 cruisers, and a United States. So, and the 6 cruisers are Annapolis, twice, Worcester, which are all 3 ships that do have AA. Then there's Zao, Venezia, Hinden, Witch Kite. And here you can see the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, so I attack here. I don't know what to go for yet, but at some point the Hindenburg is just going to be spotted there. Yeah, there you see it. So I'm going for him. And on the minimap you can see he's turning. On the minimap you can see he's turning, so you just go in with the exact angle of approach that you need. He has 30k HP. This is, by the way, not... This is a bug. Like, I definitely aimed more there, but the man is dead. He's just dead. He's gone, removed, whatever. The Alpha Strike was nearly 38k, or it was 38k. It would have been even more. The last torp just did probably around 100 damage. That man could have been 42, 43k and might have still been nuked fully. This is United States sus. The Torp Alpha of nearly 50k obviously means that ships without torpedo protection are instantly dead. So here I'm just trying to fuck with the DDs. I mean, this game is essentially, you don't have a lot of HP in this game. I mean, as you saw, it's like 2 BBs. So essentially I have to get my win or my damage from dropping DDs, and this man just dies. That was, by the way, a 2-drop on the DD with 1 rocket in between that did like 2k. Here I get it's pretty much throwaway planes. Like, your normal planes, bombers and rockets are throwaway stuff. You use them before your attack squads are ready, or when they're still reloading, but you wouldn't use them, interesting point, don't use them when you want to attack a target 25 kilometers away, while your tech squadrons only need like 20 or 30 seconds to reload. It's not worth it. It's just better to just cycle your planes, your tech squadrons. So, for example here, I fuck up the drop a bit. Yeah, that's a bug from the replay, by the way. The aiming circle is definitely smaller. I only 4 torps make it through, but he took 25k from that, a double flood, and a module damage. And I procced Halsey with it as well, which means my tech squadrons are pretty much now unlimited and psychable. The time I need to drop someone is pretty much the time for my tech squadrons to be ready again, which is ridiculous. This man was like 65k. Now I dropped him, he DCP'd. Now I drop him with the torps. Now I get my, like, look how fast he cycled them. Now I have the tech squads up in terms of the bombers, which have actually very high reload. It's like 5 minutes. Those bombers, by the way, are a bit weird to drop. You essentially want to not drop from the front. I still do it here because of the angle of approach, but 20k and a double fire. 20k and a double fire, straight up. And his damage con just ran out pretty much, like maybe 30 seconds ago. But my planes are too fast. They're just too fast. It's like the possibility of just using the tech rockets, getting a fire on someone, and at the moment people don't know how fast you can actually strike with that ship. If you're in 20 kilometers vicinity of my ship, I can pretty much insta-nuke you. And so you use like the 366 knots rockets to get a fire pretty much wherever you want. And after that, you have 260 knot torp planes that have like 35, 40k alpha on battleships still, and pretty much an insta or secure flood. Which just means you can, like, you get the fire, he repairs, and you come back with the torpedoes in less than like 30, 40 seconds. Now here we will see another incident of the torps. The torps are legit straight up broken against cruisers. Like, this is a super cruiser. Essentially he has enough AA to kill one of my torp planes. You will lose most likely 1 torp plane here. By the way, the aiming reticle is definitely loaded in. But look. He has 23k HP, 4 torps. Gone. And I'm so fast in my approach, even though my planes are spotted, that there's very little time for him to react. And since the torps do have so much alpha, you have to respect the drop. Which also means they're the best tool of creating insta-crossfire with your teammates. Essentially, a cruiser could never disrespect these, which means if a cruiser is in a position where a battleship or another heavy cruiser is watching him and you can drop him with those torps, he has literally, it's literally pick your poison time. You either get fucking nuked by the torps, or you turn flat broadside and the enemy team kills you. Well, essentially, we're already on 240k against cruisers alone. Um, we're just cycling the tech squads the entire time. I mean, doesn't really matter now, does it? Like, cheesy little 6k hit. Now the bombers come. Think I'm ripping his, it's by the way AA cruiser Wooster. Look, I go in with my tech squad, both planes make it, 15k. Triple permafire. Half the ship gone. And I was so fast that even his cruiser DCP is not off cooldown yet. This, by the way, is a 4.5k base XP game. Look, here I dropped 4 torps on the Venezia. 25 to 30k. Ship's pretty much been removed. He had 33k HP. Now he has 7. I think he even healed. The man nearly died to 4 of my torps. If I would have had 6, obviously he dies immediately there. So, yeah. And the tech squadrons, you can see, I cycled them, I cycled them, I cycled them, I cycled them. It's unlimited retardation with those planes. And he's dead. That's pretty much it. So, here you can see the average stats of 46 games while I whoop up the next replay, because we're not stopping. We're not stopping. We have a lot more shit that went down. So, this is a game where pretty much most of the enemy team actually is able to, on paper, counter you, which doesn't really exist. The 366 knots rocket planes completely ignore AA if it's only one ship. It doesn't matter. Like you kind of need. I figured it. You kind of need like 2 ships to shoot down one of the rockets, but they're too fast in their approach. Like there's no way you otherwise do something there. We're in the next game here. This is heavy battleship matchmaking. And we're going to see how well this ship farms now. And after that we go into another game where I set pretty much my carrier damage record. By the way, this game was before the next one, so this was originally my record. After, I think that was the 16th game I played in it, and that was after I already had like 5 300k plus games. The ship is just straight up a damage machine. In the last game we can also go over the statistics of the like damage proportions. Even though I didn't take screenshots, I still know where the damage came from, which is kinda baffling if you think about it. So essentially we just do the old switcheroo. You just throw away your planes. Back then I still used the rockets first and then the bombers, which is actually not good. I use the bombers now first to get the fire, and the rockets are faster to the target, so then you can get the fire faster. So essentially you just throw them away while waiting for the tech squadrons to come up. This is just the point. Like, you have the reload in the beginning of the match, otherwise the carrier would probably be hilariously fucking Omega broken. So you're just like flying around weird, and pretty much when your tech squads are up, you instantaneously use them. There's no point in using anything else. So yeah, just drop here, and the bomb alpha, you can see like 18k double fire. I mean, the normal planes are straight up midway bombers. They're a bit weaker than the midway HE bombers. Midway HE bombers have like 24, 25k max alpha. Those have like 20k max. Also, you can't slot the leg mod. I don't know. This game starts out really shit for me, and it gets going really fast later on. Here, sometimes you misclick because now you have like 5 buttons of different planes to click again. It's like RTS carrier, as I said. You have like a lot of shit you can use now. So sometimes you just misclick. There you have a 12k drop from the rockets, instant with a fire. Sadly, I used my torpedoes before that. That's also something I figured out like later on. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out, but I was too stupid for it. You use the rockets first for the fire, then they DCP the one fire, because they always do it, and then you use the torpedoes immediately afterwards to get like a flood, double flood, or even double flood engine damage, or whatever. Like, you completely nuke the ship. I mean, here the rockets, they also do damage. It's like 15, 16k and 2 drops with fires, and DCP's gone. I mean, You can't disrespect. It's just impossible. The enemy team is also giving me a perfect approach. Like I can literally fly through the middle of the map to drop. Um, yeah, the reticle is really fucked in the replay, by the way, of those super carriers. These, you can see 5k was like 25k damage. 5 torps, 25k damage per flood. And now I'm instantaneously going for him with the tech bombers, which are so fast that I will obviously make it before his DCP ever comes up again, which is pretty much secured damage. Though, mind, statistically, after playing the ship now, 17k and a permafire, statistically after playing the ship now, your damage is actually rarely coming from a lot of fires and floods. The alpha strike potential of rockets and torps together is already dumb as fuck. You will I can talk about it in the next game, which is my personal damage record. I get like 11.4k alpha again, and the fire. I mean, the fires at this point are just like the cherry on top of the ice. Like, you don't need them. You don't need the floods and the fires. Your alpha strike alone would net you 200k average. Like, seriously. I get Witheras, but I never get like 150k flood and fire damage. That's not how this game or this ship works. You could go for it if you just use like the HE bombers the entire time, but you won't net as much damage at the end of the day, because the tech squad alpha is just hilarious. I mean, even Satsumas eat like what? It was like nearly a 30k drop on a Satsuma with a flood and an engine damage again. I mean, hello or no? I mean, this is like kinda brain dead. The ship shouldn't have made it to life ever. The ship is completely horrendously broken. On top of all things, you can also just like use a full dive bomber squad to hump this Satsuma now to extinction. I mean, look, probably like, yeah, double permafire after the floods. And I don't think I get a third one here, but a double permafire on a Satsuma is already like 30k. In this game I get a Vithera. I mean, it's pretty early Vithera. I think we will see some or we won't see some sussy cruiser nukes in this game, but next game, the next replay is definitely going to be some sussy cruiser stuff again. I don't actually know what I go for here, probably Satsuma again. The tech squadrons are only limited in the way that you have to plan your angle of approach very early. But then again, on Satsumas and stuff, they're so big and immaneuverable, you just hit all the torps the entire time. I mean, this is, I guess, what they meant by introducing super carriers. They need to be super cracked and overpowered against other super ships. They forget about the fact, at this point, that there's shit like tier 9 BBs. We had a lot of incidents in the 45, 46 games that I played in this ship. The ship has the ability to 2-squad tier 9 battleships with the tech squadrons. Like, I'm not joking. There were incidents where I pretty much killed a tier 9 battleship with 2 tech squadrons in under 1 minute. You just send the torps, you get, on most tier 9 BBs, you get 40k alpha damage with the double flood they DCP, and then you send in either those bombers here, which are really funny, or you send, even better, you send in the rocket squad, which does like 12, 13k alpha at times, and double fire. There was an Izumo that took like 40k, double flood, he was full HP, 40k, double flood, rockets came, 13k on top, double permafire, pretty much dead. Dead in under a minute against this carrier. It's like RTS times. I mean, for sure. Like, so you see, you can just spam the tech squadrons. I won't go over how to play the ship and how to play the tech squads and fucking figure it out yourself. I don't give a fuck. The ship is hilariously broken, and you're not like being 12k again in the fire. He just DCP'd the flood from my tech squads. It's hilarious. Like, you just shit out planes. You will never be deplaned on top of it, because obviously the tech squadrons don't have a limit on how often they can respawn. As I said, you always have to keep in mind it stacks with Halsey and the module, the 5th slot module. You can get preparation time down through module and then Halsey Confederate proc, which just means you can shit planes at the end of the game when you have Confed procced. You can literally kill the entire enemy team with your tech squadrons. That's how dumb that is. They initially nerfed on paper nerfed the alpha of the Torp Strike, But since the last iteration, they gave it deck armor, and the reload of the torpedoes is now 40% less. So as said, if what is it? Halsey is procced, my torpedo tech squad reload is 145 or something. 1 minute, 45 seconds. It's less than 2 minutes. Essentially, the ship is also incredibly strong at sniping carriers. The only thing that saves the enemy carrier from being insta-nuked is that he is obviously, forcibly, another super carrier with a lot of HP. Though USS Sus can fuck Eagle in pretty much 2 drops if you get them. You can't really fuck the USS Sus that easy, because first of all it has 80k, so you need a lot of drops, and the AA is so strong that you will most likely lose a torp plane every single drop, which is 12, 13k alpha on the torp strike less. The Eagle doesn't have, you don't have that issue with Eagle. You can just drop it with 3 out of 3 torp bombers most of the times, which is pretty much 40k on a carrier, because they don't have torpedo protection. And then you can go for it with the rockets twice when they're ready. Like, because they're like instant and you can just fly across the whole map. If the enemy team leaves you an angle or an opportunity of approach where there's no AA ship, yeah. I mean, one bomber came through. One bomber came through and does 16k in a double fire. I mean, I don't give a fuck. It's the carry. I mean, just like man is supposed to die, I guess. So we're at 400k. The game is also like 3.5, 6, 7, 8k base. I don't know. There were like so many. There were so many games with far above 3k base. I think I had like 3 4k base games now. The game that we just witnessed before was just the highest base game ever in like a rework carrier I ever had. It was 4.5k base. 4.5k in a game where I only attacked one battleship. Just because the ship is so broken, you can just nuke cruisers. Yeah, well. So I don't think I get the drop here. I will fast forward the last game a bit more. So it ticks out. 414k. That was, by the way, on the first day. Incredibly weird. Give me a second. We whoop up the highest damage game for me now. Can see the average again. I fucked it up with one game, otherwise it would have been above 260k. Yeah, I mean, average frags and win rate dropped a lot on the weekend. The first 20 games I did in this ship were way better. They were like 258k average, I think, only. But I had like 2.5 average frags and 80% win rate. But then I started playing it a lot solo on the weekend, which is obviously harmful to your win rate, if you know what I mean. We go into the last game and then we just fast forward it and you can see like how dumb this is. I'm not even whooping out 370, 380k games because you can pretty much do them at will. It's just a matter of like 2-3 games before you have your 300k game in this ship. Just incredibly stupid. We can fast forward again. We're going to have an interesting situation here directly in the beginning. Obviously, I don't really give a fuck about those planes, as I already said. Rockets and torpedo bombers on this ship are like, you can just throw them away in the beginning of the match. Your reload on them is fairly low anyways, so you don't give a fuck. And this game is just going to be Farm Fiesta. This is also the game we lose in the end, because I moved my carrier out too early and in towards the enemy. And then a Shema that is full HP and did nothing the entire game pretty much gets too close to me. And with the super carrier you can obviously not turn away. Like when you're stuck in front of an enemy ship, you're stuck there. Like you won't be able to do any maneuvers or do anything. Sadly I don't get a fire here, which in the end is not a problem. And here we can see a very fun engaging moment. So essentially what's going to happen is there is a Roan and you can see on the minimap he's going to the island, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for this to happen so you can anticipate the turnout. You go for him immediately, straight line. I mean, the aiming reticle is definitely aimed in this situation. He has 43k. I spot him for my team first of all, so they could already nuke him. I have 20k damage. I hit only 5 torps. 33k. 33k. The man has 43 overall. If I hit the last torp, it's probably around, like, then nearly 40k. The Roan is dead. And you know what? It's so funny. I can just whoop out my rockets, his DCP is down. Like, even if I don't kill him with the Alpha, I will most likely kill him with the fire. Also, the reticle is aimed again, so that's why I, yeah, see, hit so many. I hit 4 out of 6. So, the replay is a bit bugged in terms of the aiming reticle. Well, you just go for the throwaway planes again. Um, just search for battleships that are in a position that essentially, if you drop them now with HE bombers and get a fire in the DCP, you can instantaneously follow up with a rocket or a torpedo strike, which is pretty much now my plan. So essentially, I'll just go in here, drop the man with HE, get a fire. He doesn't DCP that. But I mean, look at how far I am from the action. And look how fast my torpedo planes are actually there. I mean, you're going to see a lot. So what's so special, by the way, about these 425k? It's not a Withera game. Like, I don't have a Withera in this game. I have less than 60k flood and fire damage, which instantaneously means, by the way, this is 30k drop on the Hanover, torp drop, 30k. It was like 82 before, now it's 112. He also DCP'd. And I have my tech bombers, which means I can just go for him immediately before his DCP is up again. So you just start cycling this. It's 425k in the end. And no fire and flood damage, essentially. It was like 50k fire and flood damage. And the reason for that is I have 205k Torp Alpha in this game. 205k Torp Alpha with a so-called tactical squadron. And the tactical squadron is essentially just your main damage source at this point. It just nukes people. If you make your torps hit, you just fuck people. You fuck families, you fuck everything. It's like, you nuke people. It doesn't matter. And there's like 50k or 60k from the bombs alpha and 50k from the rockets in alpha. So that alone, the tech squadrons alone in this game netted me 300k alpha damage. And then there's like 50k from the rockets and bombers. And yeah. Wait, can we see how much damage I do here? 55. 30k again. 30k again and a permaflood. 30k on a Shikishima, which has it has the best torpedo protection on tier 10. Only Satsuma on tier 11 is above it, and you do 30k. You do 30k to that, hitting the main armor belt, or like the torpedo protection belt in the middle of the ship. Which, by the way, since it's 350k alpha pretty much damage game, and 205 or something is from torpedoes, you have to remember that torpedo damage is pretty much unhealable most of the time. A tiny touch of it is healable for 50% if you hit the nose or the stern. Here I don't get a fire, which is fairly unlucky. But we're like, this happens a lot, by the way. You're 10 minutes into the game and you have way above 200k, or you have 220k. The thing is, you would say, like if you do a 200k or above 200k in the first half, you wouldn't be able to do more in the second. The thing is, the less ships are on the field, the more broken your tactical squadrons become, because I have a free approach. Look at this. He's like 20 kilometers away. It doesn't matter. My planes are so fast. I just need him flat broadside at 20 kilometers and I can directly attack him pretty much and fuck him. By the way, this is ridiculous. I used my tech squads to get a fire, so he has no DCP. He has 38k HP. 38k. Dead. Gone. Just gone. That's what I mean. You can 2-squad tier 9 BBs, and if you don't kill them, they're at least so crippled they will never touch anyone again. I have no clue why tier 9 ships are allowed with super carriers in one game. That's like when they had tier 10 RTS carriers fight Nagados and Colorados. Tier 7s. It's like, it doesn't work out. They have no counterplay. Their AA is also so dogshit trash that they will never shoot down a tech squad plane. So essentially you saw a Roan getting deleted, a Missouri getting deleted, a Shikishima and a Hanover got deleted. I mean, the Hanover isn't dead, but I mean, I'm going to do a lot of damage here. I don't think this is a good drop. Those planes, by the way, are better from the side mostly. This is a shit drop. Perfectly lengthwise on the ship is bad because you most likely hit a lot of turrets and superstructure, which is saturated. Getting into the enemy from the side is better, and the reason for this is it's the same with the rockets kind of. You want to hit deck and side plating. Deck and side plating because that counts as hull, which is harder to saturate, or it's like most likely not saturated, so you get the full damage. And the reason for this is the tech bombers have 85 millimeters of pen. You pen every deck, you pen everything. There's nothing you don't pen. I think that man still eats a... Wait, this is by the way really funny, because it's only 2 torps. He eats 22k straight damage with a double flood and a mortar damage. So essentially, I removed 1/5 of his ship, a bit more even, while getting his DCP out immediately. There's like nothing he can do. He's just fucked. Like, how? I mean, at this point I'm also damage greedy. I mean, I should go for the Shimmer here, but I don't give a fuck. There's like battleships and carriers to be farmed. I want the 400k, just because it's funny. So the bombers have 85 millimeters pen. You pen everything. So pretty much you don't want a 100% drop from the front in most cases, because you hit, as said, turrets that you don't pen or superstructure which is saturated. Earlier when I dropped the Monty in the second game, I got the hits on the deck armor mostly. That's why I did 21k with double fire pretty much. Rockets from the front. 12.3k, no fire. I don't know about that. The rockets, next thing, pen 75 millimeter. They're also insanely easy to aim, by the way. I figured out the rockets are hilariously broken against DDs because you're coming in so fast and from such an like weird random angle, because it's obviously random because the enemy DD doesn't really know from where you come because it's so fast. Like he might see your planes on the other side of the map, you recall them, and like 10 seconds later you're already dropping him. And the rockets are really easy to aim, especially on fat DDs. You can consistently fuck fat DDs with 12, 13, 14k hits. It's not even joking. Like, there were like random druids that gave flat broadside. They had to slow down and smoke because of my teammates. I just randomly came in from the side, 13k hit. GG, fuck off. Same with like Yamagiris, 12k hit. Go fetch. It's also really easy to finish off low target DDs with those tech rockets, because you only have to hit like one rocket, which is fairly easy. And he already does like 2 to 3k damage. It's hilarious. The ship is like, if this is the standard for a super carrier, we're in for a rough ride when they introduce like German or Russian super carriers. The Eagle is already broken. The Eagle is already busted as fuck. But this ship here does 260, 270. If you go for like specific hours and only play with good matchmaking, you probably are able to do 280k damage. That's more than the insanely broken rework carriers. Like, beyond me how this is a thing. Beyond me. Those bombers are also really, really good against DDs, by the way, but you don't really use them because you just want the like potential 20k alpha on the carrier. By the way, I used the tech squad, got his DCP, and did 8k. Now I did 16k nearly with the bombs. And Eagle has less HP than United Sus. And I pretty much... I mean, I die here to the Shimmer, obviously. Fairly obvious. And the man has like 45k after 2 tech attacks. 2 tech squadrons. I'm dead, by the way. I don't dead yet. 45. The man eats all 6 torps, which is above 40k. It was like 42, 43k damage on that man. And the Satsuma gets like 1 shell and kills him. So I need 3 tech squadrons in like under 2 minutes. It was like 1.5 minutes. And I kill an entire enemy carrier. I mean, I don't feel for him because he's another super carrier. But how is this a thing? I mean, we lose the game now. Obviously, the Shimmer gets into the cap. They killed me for the point swing, and we don't have enough time to block A and B and catch them. He also dodges me here fairly nice. And yeah, well, at this point, game is over. It's a bare loss. It's 223k in the end. No Vithera. By the way, no Vithera. Um, I don't know what to say. The ship needs to be at least hotfixed. I mean, look at this shit. I'm not a carrier main. The win rate sucks a bit because I went hyper into farming. Also, the solo games on the weekend, they were like, I mean, I streamed it on Discord for some people. It's like your team just disintegrates in the first 5 minutes, and there's like nothing you can do. Like I even humped DDs most of the times just to keep the game going, and fucked my average damage because of that. But otherwise, there's like no way you don't lose the game at minute 8 or something. Like straight up game over. Yeah, well, that's United States sus. United sus. It's beyond me. So you can nuke cruisers, you can nuke DDs, you can nuke battleships, you can even snipe the enemy carrier. The ship can do everything. It can't even be counter sniped anymore with battleships because it has 38 millimeters of armor. You don't have to respect shit. You're just like an 80k HP tank because no one can overmatch your deck. Some people still try for it. They just waste insane amounts of time. Eagle has a very hard time sniping it because it has 80k HP. While the United States can do way more damage to another carrier that has way less HP. So yeah, I'm thinking 406 in 46 games, I had roughly around 15 300k plus games, like far above 300k, most of them even like 350, 70, 80, 30, something like that. Like you're literally gunning for like between 300 and 400k. 400k is a bit of an exception, but having a ship that can do 400k on its own is already wrong. It's like it's I'm not maining that class, and I managed to pull these kind of games out, which just shows it's brain dead. Everyone can do it. I mean, anyways, this is the video for you as a sus. Wish you a nice little end to the Easter holidays. Thanks for watching, and I guess see you for the next broken thing that is coming out. Bye bye.